of the results of this massive amount of research was, something that was probably common sense, but anyway, Wallach proved it, that the single best vector for nutritional supplements to get into the body are liquid form. Liquid nutritional supplements are the easiest form of nutritional supplements for the human body to absorb. Next on the list is a gel cap. Next on the list is a pressed tablet. Next on the list is a pressed tablet with shellac around it, like Centrum Silver. Those are really difficult to digest, virtually impossible to digest if you're elderly and have weak stomach acid. Hands down, the best form of nutritional supplements for absorption and assimilation into the bloodstream and the tissues of the human body are liquids. But there's a problem with liquids, because what's in the liquid? Vitamins, minerals, amino acids, the very stuff of life, the stuff that the body needs, the stuff that life is calling for, the stuff that life is yearning for. It's a major fertilizer, not just for the human body, but for mold and yeast and bacteria and just nasty stuff. Nasty stuff that's everywhere all the time. I mean, everybody has had a canister of milk go bad, right? Everybody has opened up the cream cheese and half of it's green because it's been in the back of the refrigerator for 6 months. Everybody's opened the yogurt and it's gone bad. Everybody's popped the top on the applesauce and it's filled with green crap. Everybody's done it. Why has everybody done it? Because nasty stuff, nasty microbes are everywhere all of the time. It's impossible to get away from them. So do you think they're going to like the longevity nutritional supplements? 100% concentrated, super saturated stuff. It is a gold mine for microbes. But we have to put them into a liquid form in order to facilitate their absorption into the system. By the way, longevity, of course, has a whole host of nutritional supplements in capsule form. You don't have to put preservatives or sweeteners in those. Longevity has a whole host of stuff in capsule form, but the best stuff that longevity has is liquid. And it's the liquid stuff that's a game changer. And because it's liquid, unless you put a preservative into it, that nasty stuff is going to get you. It's only a matter of time. This is why preservatives must be added to longevity nutritional supplements. And this is also, by the way, why sweeteners are added. Go back here just a second. The lion's share of the nutrients that are in longevity supplements are minerals. Things like calcium and magnesium and sulfur and zinc. As we'll see in a few slides, minerals are a strong component of an effective medical nutritional supplement. Minerals are a big deal. Only problem with minerals is, man, they don't taste very good. And by the way, neither do vitamins. I mean, have you ever chewed a multivitamin? Or you've broken the cap open because you had a sore throat one day and you couldn't swallow a whole capsule. So you put the stuff in a little water and tried to drink it down. It's nasty. Vitamins don't taste good. Minerals taste even worse. So when you have a vitamin and a mineral in a liquid form, the only way that you're going to be able to swallow it, the only way that you're going to be able to swallow it is if you put something in there to sweeten it up. And what are your choices? Sugar? Well, I don't think so. Honey? Well, maybe, but honey's gonna mess with your glycemic index. And if you have a blood sugar issue, or even remotely near of faulty blood sugar metabolism, the honey's gonna screw with your metabolism and it's gonna offset some of the benefits of the nutritional supplements. So we have to use a non-glycemic sweetener just so that you can swallow it, because you couldn't otherwise. Magnesium is so bitter. You can take laboratory rats, starve them from magnesium, remove all the magnesium from their food for a couple of weeks, starving them from magnesium. Now, you know, a rat's an animal has instinct. An animal is going to know that it needs magnesium if it's starving from magnesium. If you put a block of magnesium, a little cube of magnesium in the cage with a laboratory rat that's starving from magnesium, the rat can't eat it because it's too bitter. You can't swallow that, even if you're starving from it. You just can't do it. Can't do it. So when you're taking a liquid nutritional supplement that has vitamins and minerals in it, it's got to be sweetened. Otherwise, nobody's going to be able to swallow it. So the trick is finding a sweetener that doesn't mess with your glycemic index. And that's why sweeteners are in the Youngevity liquid products. So now, of course, we come to the concept of bugs and nasty microbes and all this stuff that's everywhere all the time. It's going to love to get inside that bottle. And, you know, there's a little bit of it inside everything. It's impossible to have a 100% sterile, you know, you can't do that. So there's stuff in there, there's stuff everywhere. Just in your milk, in your orange juice, it's everywhere all the time. So if you are formulating a liquid nutritional supplement, because that's the best way to help people absorb it, you got to put preservatives in there. Otherwise, it's going to go bad in like 7 days. You open the stuff, 7 days later, it's filled with mold. That's nasty. So we need preservatives to kill that stuff all of the time. The middle of the night when you're sleeping, middle of the morning when you're working, middle of the afternoon when you're taking a coffee break. The preservatives are in there killing the bugs that are desperately trying to feed and breed. Life will find a way. So you got to put preservatives in it. But what are we trying to do with a nutritional supplement? We're trying to help people get better. So you don't want to be putting stuff in the nutritional supplement that's going to hurt people. So in the wonderful world of preservatives added to nutritional supplements, the two major players are potassium sorbate and sodium benzoate, which popular culture has led people to believe are evil, from the devil, and just nasty, bad fallout from the pharmaceutical industry. And I got to tell you, that's just not correct. Facts are a stubborn thing, and the sword of science cuts both ways. So let's drill it down. Potassium sorbate. This is all of the chemical stuff, all of the scientific stuff anybody ever needs to know about potassium sorbate. This is for all of the nerds and geeks in the audience. Go nerds, go nerds. Card carrying nerd, go nerds. But in point of fact, there is no debate in the scientific community as to whether potassium sorbate is good or bad. It's an academic fact. It's good. There's nothing wrong with potassium sorbate. Now, everything has something called an LD50. LD50 is a terminology that scientists use. It's called lethal dose 50. It stands for the dose of something which will kill 50% of the people who take it. Everything has an LD50. Water has an LD50. Carrots have an LD50. Milk has an LD50. Beer, alcohol, wine, pharmaceuticals, herbs, everything has an LD50. The LD50 for potassium sorbate is so far outside the zone that it's not even in the running for being a harmful substance. There are no problems whatsoever with potassium sorbate, and the alternative is nasty stuff growing in your nutritional supplement. So you need to just get over the fact that preservatives are bad because they're not. Well, you could make the argument that some are, but not the ones that make their way into Youngevity's nutritional supplements. Potassium sorbate And the redheaded stepchild that nobody wants to know, the biochemical, the chemical that is perhaps more misunderstood than Van Gogh was, sodium benzoate, an extremely misunderstood chemical because of the name. It's all in the name. Popular opinion will have you believe that, well, in point of fact, benzene is a nasty cancer-causing chemical. Benzene will kill you just as soon as look at you. Benzene is a big, bad voodoo daddy. And benzene shares 4 letters with benzoate. And so uneducated people who don't really know anything about biochemistry assume that sodium benzoate will turn into benzene. And didn't I read that somewhere? Well, you did. Everybody thinks that the benzoate part of sodium benzoate will turn into benzene inside the human body, and we're all going to die. And it's a plot by the drug companies to whittle down the population of Earth, right? It's eugenics. Well, no, it's not. I'm sorry, it's just not so. 2 + 2 does not equal 5. 2 + 2 = 4. And there are rules of biochemistry, right? Rules of chemicals. Chemicals do certain things. They don't do anything all the time. They only do certain things. I suppose you can make the argument that anything can happen. I mean, it's possible that the atoms in this room could spontaneously coalesce all by themselves into a grand piano. That's possible. It's possible. Human combustion is possible. It's possible. Anything's possible, but sodium benzoate turning into benzene just ain't going to happen. It's a myth. It's wrong thinking, but I'll tell you where it started. Benzoic acid naturally occurs in fruits. How about that? Now, don't we tell you to eat dark-skinned fruits to get the ORAC? We do. So why would we do that if the benzoic acid in the fruit could turn into benzene? Well, it can't. And so we have to just educate ourselves and be smart and move forward here. Sodium benzoate is the stabilized form of benzoic acid, which is a naturally occurring substance in fruits. And it's stabilized by an attachment to a sodium molecule. Now, here's where the myth started. Years ago, soft drink companies found benzene in their soft drinks, which had been preserved with sodium benzoate. And everybody freaked out. Oh my God, it's the sodium benzoate, which is tantamount to thinking that a horse can turn into a cow if you ride it hard enough. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. I suppose it's possible, but it's not going to happen. Well, interestingly enough, the horse is out of the barn, pun intended. The myth populates through the culture, even though that when the soft drink companies investigated it, benzene was found in the water that they were using to put into the soft drink. It wasn't from the sodium benzoate. It was from contaminated, polluted water that, somehow benzene got in it. Maybe probably from a dry cleaner. Who knows? Runoff from somewhere bad. No environmental control, no thought for people living downstream. Industry gone mad. Fascism on the rise. The marriage of corporations and government. Good for a few, bad for most. So the benzene that actually was found in soft drinks came from polluted water that they used to make the soft drink. Didn't have anything to do with sodium benzoate, and yet the horse was out of the barn. The myth persists. This is similar to the myth that exists in the world right now about the relationship between Alzheimer's and aluminum. It's nonsense. There is no relationship between Alzheimer's and aluminum. If there was, then every vegetarian in the world would have Alzheimer's, because aluminum is either the first or the second most abundant mineral in the earth. And as we're going to learn here in a minute, minerals are sucked up into the bodies of plants, and then we eat the plant and we get the minerals. So if aluminum was related to Alzheimer's, every vegetarian in the world would have aluminum. And here's what happened with that myth. A researcher was sectioning parts of a brain of an Alzheimer's patient who died. Yes, that they did it after they died. And they put the little slices of the brain onto a dish. They added a dye so that they could see it, and they did chemical analyses of the tissues. What they found was massive amounts of aluminum in the tissues. Oh my God, there's aluminum. Aluminum causes Alzheimer's. They published it. Direct relationship, direct, statistically significant. 2 weeks after it was published, more or less, one of the researchers said, oops, the media that we put the tissue on, the slices of the brain, was made from aluminum. So they repeated the experiment on non-aluminum media, no aluminum. In the next issue of the journal, they retracted their findings. I don't know if you've ever read a scientific journal or a medical journal, but the retractions are in a little tiny paragraph buried at the end that nobody looks at. Horses out of the barn, cats out of the bag. Everybody thinks, oh, aluminum causes Alzheimer's. It's nuts. It's nonsense. It's bad science. Don't go there. Bad dog, no biscuit. There's no relationship between benzene and sodium benzoate. And by the way, longevity checks all of the time, as most prudent companies do, for no reason really than to just to have it in the file so that people who are uneducated about any of this will sleep soundly at night. Oh, longevity checked and there's no benzene. Well, there's never going to be benzene in it, unless, of course, the water that they use is polluted. But as we're going to see in a minute, that ain't going to happen either. So remember, science is a harsh taskmaster. It cuts both ways. And the scientific inquiry will free your mind if you apply it in an unbiased way. And that's a rare thing in the 21st century. This information, by the way, from Steve Wallach, the founder or the CEO of Longevity, Dr. Wallach's son. Now, what are we up to here?